Hello, the Pokemon fan 1993 here, back with more Pokemon Showdown. So it's been a hot minute, but I finally finished completing my K team off the Outbelt Challenge. So today we're going to use this team. This team consists of Kommo-o, King Gambit, Resolute Form, uh, Keldeo, Crocodile, Cleavor, and Kyurem. So trying to find Pokemon that were actually usable in this challenge was actually a very hard thing to do because K is one of those letters that a lot of Pokemon don't start with. And if some do start with it, usually they're either first or second stage Pokemon or they're very, very useless. So today we're going to do this. So here we have Tinglu, another King Gambit, Annihilate, Mousehold, Golingo, and Chinyu. So he starts with Annihilate. I start with King Gambit. I immediately switch to Flying Terra, so he can't his whatever move fighting move he's going to use would not hurt me. So now I go for Iron Head, and then I didn't know if he was going for another shot, so I think I went for Sucker Punch here to see if he would go for an attack, and he did. And that takes care of probably one of the biggest threats on his entire team. Or her entire team, my bad. Oh, it could be a guy. Who the hell knows? People choose female avatars all the time. So now he switches to Queen Gambit, which is his King Bank. Goes for Kotal Cleave. And I go for a Brick Break because that's super effective. 4 times effective, actually, on a King Gambit. It's crazy King Gambit used that much considering that he is that weak to fighting. I switch Keldeo in here to avoid the potential fire attack from Chinyu, and I did. So now it goes for Ruination, which does half my HP, but just if I raise my attack, doesn't matter much because I'm using this is a special Keldeo, so that really doesn't do much for him. Switch to Golingo. I believe I go for I go for Aqua Jet here because I knew I wasn't going to survive one turn. Knocks me out. From here, I believe I switched to, I think it's Kommo-o. No, I switched back to King Gambit. So to go for an attack, so I went for a Sucker Punch, and that was enough to knock it out. Golingo is another huge threat on her team. King Gambit has the leftovers, and he has max defenses. So I go for Sucker Punch here. Mousehold is probably one of the biggest threats on his team. Most Population Bomb. Population Bomb is probably the most broken move in the entire game. Actually, I'd say almost in all Pokemon. So like, okay, so I switched to Cleavor. He thought I was going for a Fighting type move, so he Terraced the Ghost. But I saw it coming, I didn't even bother going for it, so he goes for Population Bomb. He didn't get any stab moves, he Terraced the Ghost. So he's going to hit me a crap ton of times, but it's not enough to knock out Cleavor. If you got a couple critical hits here, it might have knocked me out. He got 1 critical hit. Wasn't quite enough. And 10 times. So I go for a Stone Axe. That knocks his Pokemon and puts rocks on his side for the remainder of the battle until he knocks it out. This was the Tinglu here. Tinglu is a dark and ground type. A lot of people don't even see a lot of... This one doesn't see a lot of use because of how it's set up. Goes for Strawberry Tantrum that puts Cleavor down. I believe after this, so I switched to... Yeah, switch to Kyurem. And then, I don't think he had nothing that I could really hurt me, so I'll go for a Dragon Dance to make sure I can deal it. Because he has a lot of defense. Goes for Stopping Tantrum. Not sure why it's Stopping Tantrum. I'm pretty sure Earthquake is still very usable. So this Kyurem has a Icicle Spear and loaded dice, so I can hit him a lot more times than I probably should be able to. Alright, next battle. And I forgot to do that too, but that's not a big deal. So I actually forgot to set up the transitions, but that's not a big deal. I don't think a lot of people really care much about that. So there's gonna be sudden cuts, and I apologize for that. I actually forgot. That's the one thing I forgot to do. I haven't done this in so damn long that I forgot that I had to do that. So I go for Icicle Spear, hit 4 times. Air survives is literally 1 HP. Goes for Web and Spikes. Goes for another type Spikes to try to set up more. Unfortunately, his entire team, I believe, gets run by Kyurem, so he very rarely gets a chance for me to swap out at all. So he goes for Smeargle. His Smeargle here was obviously to probably put Spore on me and put me to bed, but it didn't work that way. And I took him out with 1 barrage of Icicle Spears. Switched to Blaziken. So I was a little scared here, so I go for a Terra Dragon. And he's going to go for an attack right off the bat because of his speed boost, so I didn't know why I thought I probably should have gone for Dragon Dance instead of Dragon Tail. But with Dragon Tail, basically, I gave Kyurem that move for one reason. The only reason I gave him that is because for potential stall switches, like he's going to do here, he's probably going to Baton Pass to another Pokemon. So I forced him to switch to his Darkrai. Goes for Icicle Spear. Hits him at least 4 times. That knocks out Darkrai. Switches back to Blaziken. I go for another Dragon. I thought he was going to go for a Detect, and he didn't. That's fine. He goes for a Brave Bird, which he should have stuck with Blaze Kick, because Brave Bird gets no stab bonus, even though it is technically stronger. Goes for a Detect. This time I go for a Icicle Spear, and it doesn't connect, which is fine. If I was him, I would have gone for a double Detect there and hope that it would have gone through, because if he was able to boost speed one more time, he would have knocked me out. Now, Monkey Dory is one of those Pokemon you rarely ever see being used competitive, so it's actually kind of interesting to see. Fake Out. Go for Icicle Spear. That puts down Monkey Dory, I'm pretty sure, with 4 hits. Yes. And then his Toxapex gave me the most trouble out of everything. But that's Toxapex for you. I go Icicle Spear, trying to do as much damage as I possibly can. So I think either Baneful Bugger is not in this game, or people don't use it. I'm not really sure, because I don't use Toxapex. It goes for a Toxic. So interesting thing here, you could have gone for a couple of options here. You could have gone for a couple of someone could have learned Whirlwind, for example. I think it's Smeargle could have. So we're just gonna go through a few turns here where I end up hitting him decently hard, but he goes for a Haze. So Kyurem, considering I almost completely swept this team with just Kyurem, is actually kind of crazy. His percent stats, so I'm like, Dragon Tail wouldn't be a damage, so I just go for another Icicle Spear, just to do a little as much damage as possible. Go for another Recover. And then I swap into Crocodile, and for whatever reason here he tears Poison. Maybe he thought he was faster, but the only issue with that is he goes Terra Poison and then he used Liquidation. Which I'm like, okay, what was the point of that? You would have had better chance just leaving, not Terra, and then going for Liquidation, because it would have done more damage. You might actually knock me out with that if that was the case. That battle's over. Now we have a very interesting team here. So I start with Keldeo. He starts with Jirachi. Go for Surf, that knocks about half his HP. Cosmic Power. I go for another Surf. Brings down to very low HP. Alga Berry restores a little bit of his HP as well. Goes for Baton Pass. So his entire thing was to go for Baton Pass the entire time. But he made a very, very mild mistake here. He goes for Swords Dance, which increases Foot X's or Cinderace's attack, but it makes it normal. So what he does here makes to me, was a very bad misplay. He's going to go Baton Pass into his Bisharp. Unfortunately, I was going for Sacred Sword anyway. So that whole Baton Pass thing was just a mute. Because if he would have, now if he would have swapped something else, like for example, he swapped the Primera and then did something, maybe that would have worked, or switch back to Jirachi, at the very least. Keldeo also has access to, not Icy, but he has Icy Wind, which is actually really nice to have. Switches to Primera. That I can do against a Water Fairy, so I just go for Surf. He goes for a Draining Kiss, which takes all my HP, the rate of my HP, which I believe almost restores all of his. Next shot is Kleavor here. I tear it to Grass, I thought he'd go for a Water type move because I am Rock normally. I go for Stone Axe. Stone Axe has 10% chance to miss, and I miss. Goes for Moon Blast, takes about half my HP. Lowers my special attack, that doesn't matter. Kleavor's a physical attacker. Go for another Stone Axe, and that's enough to knock it out. I believe, yeah, Kleavor has a Choice Band. So Kleavor, while not very fast, can deal a lot of damage. So he goes for a Flare Blitz here to knock me out. I'm guessing this particular Arcanine had a Scarf or Band, because I swapped to Kyurem, and he goes for another Flare Blitz, which means if he would have had Head Smash, he would have used it, he would have knocked me out right there. So I go for a Dragon Tail to force him to swap out. He swaps back to Dratini, or not Dratini, Jirachi. And then I just start using Dragon Tail to basically just start dealing a small amount of damage to each of his monsters. Some of his monsters have stuff like sure, because I can remember that so easily. Nothing needs to get rid of the stones, or nothing to stop that from happening. Flare Blitz again. I go for Aura Sphere. Kommo-o is actually probably the strongest one on my team, theoretically. I said, unless you count Bisharp having +5 on its ability. I forget what the ability is the most. Aura Sphere puts down Jirachi, and I believe he forfeits here. Now he switches to Cinderace. Cinderace has safety boost, so he doesn't take any damage from the thing. He goes for a Terra Fire here, which is pretty good, but my Kommo-o is really good defensive base, so I'm going for Clanging Skills, and that puts down that battle. Next, we have another interesting team here. Honestly, I don't remember much from this battle. All I know is I start with Kyurem, and I predicted he'd go to another Pokemon, so I decided to go for Dragon Dance instead. He tears Dragon. Not sure why he did that. He would have been way better off not terraing at all. It goes for Iron Valorant. And Iron Valorant actually has a move that I always forget it has, which is Destiny Bond. So we're going to knock it out here, but because of Destiny Bond's effect, we're going to go down with it. He switches to Vikavolt, I switch to Kleavor. I go for a Stone Axe, that's immediate one-hit knockout. Puts stones on his side, he goes to Greninja. I actually tear to Grass here, and he goes for a Blizzard. Which Blizzard has a 30% chance to miss, and that's why I don't like moves like that. So that happens. I go for a Stone Axe. I don't know why he teared. He should have just done it, and then he forfeited. So this was rather interesting because I basically have a Pokemon in here to deal with. Let me put you this way. I've actually battled this guy before. Once, and then I came back around and I battled him again. So the interesting thing here is that before I started with a different Mon, a physical Mon, and he kept using Bulk Up to keep increasing Annihilate's power. The only issue here was that, well, I'm a special user, and using Bulk Up a bunch of times is not really doing anything. So if you just do a Moongus, I go for Surf, nothing happens. So I have a counter for a Moongus, so I swap to Kommo-o, and he goes for a Spore. You can see me in the chat, I go, nope. So, Overcoat prevents Spore from happening. I go for a Klinger, so it's going to increase all my stats. It's also going to increase, the throw rate is going to increase my special attack even higher, but I lose 1/3 of my HP. He goes for a Toxic. So Kommo-o's time on the field is limited. I go for Clinging Skills to put down a Moongus. I can't afford to have that thing around later in the game. I lose HP because of the poison. Switch to Clefable. So I honestly thought I'd be strong enough to one or two shot the Clefable, but even with that much power, I still can't do it. So this is just me kind of flailing around with Flash Cannon until Kommo-o dies. So Clefable is another one of those bonds that are really hard to get around. Like, I don't see a lot of people use them, like, in Scarlet, but I see a lot of people use them in Showdown. Like that, was this the second or third Blaze we've also seen in the second Nightwave, I think we've seen. Really interesting him, he has both Regidrago and Lula in play. So I go for Kleavor, I go for Stone Axe, it's going to knock most HP out, and it's going to go for it. I'm not sure what his plan was here, to go for another Cosmic Power. I'm not sure what he was trying to do. I'm going to guess maybe he's not that experienced with Pokemon. That's the only thing I could think of. So now we have a situation here. He goes for a Swords Dance, which actually I thought he was going for a Detect. But either way, Stone still puts it down. I think with that kind of Blaziken, you want to make it max defense and not max attack or speed. So he actually goes for something interesting. He goes for a Light Screen. No, he goes for a Meteor Beam, that's right. And then he puts down Kleavor with that because of the Power Herb. I switch to Crocodile. Now, for those who don't know, Crocodile is a almost all the time physical attacker. So he goes for Light Screen. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Why Light Screen? And you can see say that in the comments. So Crocodile is another Choice Band user. Moxie increased my attack every time I knock out a Pokemon. Switched to Regidrago. Got hurt from the rocks. And then I go for a Crunch on Annihilate, even though he swapped. And then I believe he forfeits right here. That goes to Regidrago. And then you can see me tell me in the section here, I was like, you should have gone for a different lead mon. You really can't see it because it kind of cuts it off a little bit, but that's what I said. Next. Now, this is the last person I ever fought. So you see this good look, have fun, and I was looking at his team, and I literally said, well, I doubt that. He said, yeah, LOL, probably. The reason I said it is because, for those who don't know, I hate Calyrex with a passion. I also hate Arceus and Rayquaza with a passion. So I thought this was going to be a very hard thing. I go for a Terra Dragon here because that Arceus is a Steelix. So I go for one Dragon Dance. And I basically go for Icicle Spear. I'm trying to break through his doll and deal a little extra damage to him. Goes for Calm Mind. So I go for another Dragon Tail to force it out. because obviously a Pokemon like that could be a bit of a problem. By the way, Dragon Tail is highly underrated as a dragon move. I would like to say that now. So he switched to Indeedee. My increased attack stat lets me go Icicle Spear enough to knock it out. And I believe I knock out his next Pokemon and he makes a comment that says, he says, Christ. And I said, yeah, that's loaded dice. But this right here actually surprised me. I'm actually faster than his Calyrex is. So I go for Icicle Spear. It hits a total of 5 times, which is enough to knock it out. You're going to see me make the comment. He's going to make the comment down here. Loaded dice actually kind of broken. Spend Force. Switch to King Gambit. I lose some speed. It's fine. I go for a... He goes for Expanding Force, which... Don't know why. I go for a Swords Dance. Oh, the Expanding Force is now gone. Now he goes for a Thunder. And I go for another Swords Dance. Now I'm going to guess he's going to go for another Thunder again. So I go for a Sucker Punch, which... Always at first, your opponent's using an attack move. And then he switches to Arceus. I go for King Gambit has Brick Break because of I'd have issues dealing with other Steel types otherwise. And I believe he forfeits right here. So that's going to do it for this video. Thank everyone for watching. This is the Pokemon Fan 1993 signing off. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, take